Hey there, everyone. How you doing today? I came across several different YouTube videos from I'm going to call them entertainers. I don't really think they're investors. At least they don't sound like investors. Talking about a real estate crash that is imminent. It's coming. Watch out below. All of these things. And I have a pretty good track record. Uh, I've been in the game 20 years. I wrote about in this book how we survived the last crash, how we moved equity from houses to apartments, and then how we thrived in the last downturn, how I got out of apartments when others were getting in. So, you know, I have at least a proven track record about this topic. So I thought I would put my take on it. And I thought I would do this by reminding you what happened last time. All these people talking about a real estate crash coming are saying it's going to be like 2007, and they didn't invest that time. So shame on you. I did. So let's talk about what happened in 2007. So one of the things that I wrote about in our book that I followed was something that most of you can look up, and it's called the Affordability Index. The Affordability Index that I look at is produced by the California Association of Realtors, CAR. It is on a scale of 1 to 100. And basically what it says, if it says 50, what it means is half the population for that city can buy the average home. That's what it means. So what I have learned, again, thanks to Bruce Norris, who brought this up for me the first time way back in '04, basically in California, when that affordability index gets below 20, it's like a yellow flag. And then if it gets below 15, it's a red flag. So you need to look that up. You need to research it. Not every state, every county reports it the same way. What I would tell you to do is go back and look at what it was doing in '01, '06, '08, and 12, and then compare it to today. So the affordability index in Fresno, California, my market of choice, got as low as 13 or 14. It was time to get out. It was too pricey. The average person couldn't afford it. Prices had run too long, too far, and we sold. And we moved equity into apartments. So what is it today? It's actually in the low 40s. It's fine. Most of that is because interest rates are low, because the affordability index is made up of lots of factors. Average price, average income, and yes, interest rates. So if any three of those factors change, it could impact the affordability index. So average prices. Fresno average prices are going up, much like many metros. There is going to be no crash. Income. Incomes are actually rising in Fresno. They're not as rising as fast now in the crisis, but they are rising. Interest rates. They are low and going lower. So I've run some very quick math, and I think the last median price for Fresno was, let's call it 260 for an even number. Prices would have to get to almost 400 before you would get to an affordability index below 15. So is it possible that we get there someday in the future and have a crash like '07? Yes. But we have a lot of room between here and there. That's a 50% jump in prices. And while I think we'll have a double digit price increase, 10, 11, 12%, it's not 50. 50, no. So that's one thing. The other thing that was very obvious, and again, if you weren't investing that time, you will not have seen this, is there were a lot of tenants leaving my apartments who were buying homes they couldn't afford because I had their application. I knew their income, but they were moving into these houses for less than first month's rent and deposit. Banks were, they were just doing dumb loans. Banks are not doing dumb loans today. Banks are requiring more down, higher credit. We just don't have the same stupidity going on like last time. There is no real estate crash coming, nationally speaking. I do think vertical cities, New York, San Francisco, are in trouble, and dare I say it, toast. But let's talk nationally. The other thing that we need to realize is, at least in the moment, freaking inventory levels are as low as I've ever seen them. And I've been doing this 20 years. Prices are going to go up. You do not have a real estate crash when you have inventory 30% below the demand. It's impossible. That is stupid to say a crash is coming when you think that way. So all of these videos that I saw today were misinformed, fishing for clicks when it is not possible. If you want to tell me New York City is about to become cheaper or San Francisco is about to become cheaper, LA cheaper, get it. No argument. But when we talk nationally, when we talk suburbs, you can't have price drops when inventory is 30% below demand. Impossible. Supply and demand doesn't work that way. You can't have a crash when lenders are lending to qualified buyers with real down payment and real credit scores. Does not happen. And when the affordability index, is, at least in my market, is above 40, it doesn't happen. You can go back and look at 40 years. It doesn't happen. So, what is going on today, right? Today, we have low inventory. We have those forbearance. One of the most frequent things I heard is, oh, we're going to have all of these evictions and all of these forbearance and inventory is going to explode. You all are not paying attention. These idiots that are telling you these things are not paying attention. This is what's happening. Yes, roughly 8% of loans are in forbearance. True. That could last a year. True. But what is going on in that time frame? Prices are rising. So if you end up in foreclosure because you have to move or you lost your job or whatever, sell. You have equity. Sell. It's one of the things the Treasury and the Fed has successfully done is delayed pain so the engine, at least in the single family market, could kick in. It is true we may have more inventory come on the market next year. True. But it's not going to come on in the numbers, at least in most cities, to damage price. Interest rates could be cheaper next year than this year, which means affordability gets better, not worse. We are going to have a kind of reversal of a trend. Over the last decade or so, we have seen a migration from the suburbs to the cities that is clearly reversing. So there will be some cities that are clearly hurt. But in general, the single family home with the front yard, the backyard, the 2-car garage, you're going to be okay. If you're in a 70-story building with an elevator and no backyard and you can hear your neighbors through paper-thin walls, probably in trouble. Probably in trouble. So, in the end, I've been doing this a long time. The market that I am in is going to be more expensive, not less. If we let's call Fresno 260 July 1st of 2020, just to have it on record, and you can all remind me later if I'm right or wrong. I believe by January 1st, 2021, 6 months, you're probably going to be at 280 to 285. That's an 8 to 10% jump in prices. That's just how it works, folks. Supply, demand. Lending is a big deal. If you were not buying, 16 years ago, you don't know the foolishness going on. People were making 20 grand a year and saying they make 200 grand a year. It's only a zero. Oops, I made a mistake. And they were buying big ass homes that they could never afford. That's not happening today. That's just not happening today. There's nothing going on other than some big cities that are going to get smacked that would have real estate values fall. The suburbs are going to be fine. It's going to be great, as a matter of fact. People are going to feel wealthier. So, in the end, very disappointed with all those newbies. You know, people have been doing this 2 or 3 years, talking about a crash. They didn't survive last time. They were probably in high school last time. But in the end, you know, everybody has their opinion. Everybody needs to get clicks, I guess. So in the end, I do not real estate crash. I don't even see a bubble forming yet. I do see the pieces that could make a bubble form. You know, for example, if Fresno went from 260 to like 315 in a year, that might be a little bit too fast, too quick, right? That's 20%. But I don't see that happening. I see a general progress, but we'll see. The single family home is going to be the great investment. It's going to be driven by owner occupants. So that's what I see coming. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.